revenge or retribution. Those of you who have seen Joan Rivers perform realize that she does some rather unusual material about the royal family of Great Britain.
How many kids you got, Princess Anne? Ooh, a horse. As a matter of fact, the Queen of England is one of my best friends. Is she here? Look for a woman wearing a house dress and a crown. I met the Queen of England. She, you know, they say, Joan, the Queen of England. You go, how do you do? She goes, fo, fo. I said, what did she say? Fo, 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 fo. I said, this one's putting me on. Fo, 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 fo. So as a joke, I went, well, fo, 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 fo. And she invited me for the weekend. And you think they're good looking? Oh, a bunch of dogs. Oh, grow up. A bunch of, go out in the street, call their names, Queenie, Prince, and Duke, see what shows up.
You got to wonder, what would happen if Joan Rivers happened to come face to face and had a confrontation with the Prime Minister of England, Margaret Thatcher, who, after a few social amenities, would start to ask Miss Rivers about her material regarding the royal family. Now, how do we bring that about? Well, first we had to swear about 50 to 60 people to secrecy, which we did. Then I had to lie to Joan Rivers. Now, Joan's a very good friend of mine, and I felt guilty for about 10 seconds because I realized how funny this could be. So I called Joan, and we've known each other for 17 years. And I said, Joan, would you mind coming to a small dinner for me up in Las Vegas? It's very small. You won't have to perform. It'll take 2 hours of your time. We'll fly you up in a private jet, and you'll be back in 2 hours. We arranged for Joan to be brought to this VIP lounge at the Los Angeles airport. However, it didn't look like this on that particular day, and we had to redecorate the room. We had walls built to conceal 4 hidden cameras. We had a control room, we had lighting, we had microphones. We wanted to make it appear perfectly normal. Okay, now keep in mind that Joan agreed to come here. We invited some friends to come with her to make it look perfectly legitimate. And of course, Joan's husband, Edgar Rosenberg, who also did not know what was going to take place. We enlisted the aid of a well-known British actress, Janet Brown, who has portrayed Margaret Thatcher on a number of occasions. We flew her from London to Los Angeles and spent a week preparing her for this practical joke. Also, we enlisted the aid of a highly respected newscaster here in California, John Schubeck, to give the impression that he had just conducted an interview with Margaret Thatcher. Miss Thatcher, by the way, said she was on her way to the ranch in Santa Barbara to meet with President Reagan. By a stroke of good fortune, that particular weekend, President Reagan happened to be at the ranch. You follow this so far? Joan Rivers is now coming to the TWA lounge. She thinks she's flying to Las Vegas for a private dinner in my honor, and all of a sudden, she is in a circumstance, and that is the key element to any complicated practical joke. The victim must not have time to analyze what is going on. The confrontation is there, Joan is there, and she is introduced to Margaret Thatcher, who, after a few pleasantries, starts to ask Miss Rivers about her material. And here is what happened.
Excuse me. Miss Rivers, Prime Minister Thatcher?
Oh, nice to know you. Hello.
Very nice to meet you.
My husband, Edgar Rosenberg.
How do you do?
Mr. LaSalle, Mr. McMahon.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Mrs. McMahon.
Hello.
Mrs. LaSalle and Mr. Tebris.
How do you do? You do travel with a great many.
Well, we're going to be
Yes, yes.
Are you on vacation?
Well, not really. I've just been at one of the many conferences which take place. You know, this is the troubles and the problems of a prime minister, really. As you know, I've been with your President Reagan rather a lot. He is a charming man. Do you mind if we sit down? May I sit next to you? Because, you know, I'm absolutely... May we do?
Yeah, sure.
I'm absolutely enchanted with everything because it's all so completely different from England, you know. But it is so nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
And, of course, in England, I have not had the opportunity to see you.
No.
I would like
so.
to. You see, I do feel that our sense of humor is vastly different from the American type of humor. Do you agree? I really do think so. I sometimes wonder, I have heard, you see, I have heard from some of my aides that you have difficulty understanding the English language sometimes. Someone said, I don't know which one of you, was it that? Someone said to me, you say something about, whenever you hear English people, they seem to be saying, what is it, fa, 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 fa.
Yeah, this is one of my jokes.
Is this one of your lines?
Yes. But I do that with Americans, too, so it's not just English people.
It's fa, 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 fa.
Because the English upper-class accent is so beautiful.
I see. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Perfectly.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Do you find the American sense of humor is such that, how should I say it, that they do not mind being insulted? Do you find that kind of thing?
It depends. What do you think, Edgar?
Do you always ask your husband?
Yes, I do.
Indeed, you're just the same. I'm the same with my husband. But there is this point. You see, someone else on my entourage was explaining to me that you do like to, in your material, talk about our royal family.
A little bit.
Now,
Very little bit.
This I find really rather difficult to accept.
Well, I talk about, just so you understand.
Yes.
I talk about
in
American.
a kind way, a
Well,
nice way.
Well, yeah, well, in a humorous way.
Yeah.
What I say, and I speak about our own, I speak a lot about our own people. I mean, I do a lot on Nancy Reagan.
But the royal family, I gather some of the remarks, I believe, are very insulting.
No.
I do find this very difficult to understand, because as you know, our royal family, our queen particularly, is very, very highly thought of.
Oh, I should hope.
Do you find that you feel that feeling for her?
Well, I've never met her.
No. But these remarks that I must say I do find extremely insulting.
Well, I don't mean to be insulting. I'm surprised that she's even heard about it.
Yes, oh, indeed.
It's just like a little joke.
Indeed. Well, I think possibly I would not have known, but someone told me amongst my entourage.
It's just that my husband's English, so I talk about her a little bit.
I see. You find this kind of thing goes down well with the Americans?
Oh, yes.
I see. Being rude about her.
Well, I'm not rude.
Well,
Please, Mrs.
I
Thatcher.
would hate to go back. But you see, I simply must stress, Miss Rivers, the relationships between Britain and America have always been
very close.
Excellent.
No offense, but we helped you during the war a lot.
Indeed, I agree. But of course, that is absolutely so.
But I say it's very mild.
Yes, but I'm afraid some of the things I
It's not
heard,
worth being obsessed.
particularly about Princess Anne and Prince Charles.
Well, Princess Charles we all like a lot, and we're very happy.
Yes, you like him.
Oh, yes.
You like him.
And I hope it works out.
But you see, this is the kind of thing that really an artist of your standing, because I have heard a great deal about you, that really I am surprised that this kind of thing should take place and be seen on television. I find it deeply distressing. I can only talk about my feelings and the royal family's feelings. You see, to the Queen we owe allegiance.
Yes,
you must understand this.
I do.
This is the point, Miss Rivers. I really can't state this too strongly. America and Britain are the strongest of allies.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And as you have nothing else to say to me, and as I feel so deeply about this, may I just give you this letter, which I think will clear up. I would like you to, please.
All right. Can I get your autograph?
I will be happy to do that, but I just feel...
Now, the letter she's handing Joan is from me.
As I happen to meet you now, simply must be clear.
Dear Joan, you've been had.
Oh, please.
Well, the deed is done, and that was the culmination of our practical joke. Now, you probably got a question like I do. Did Joan know about it? How did she feel? Was she angry? What was going through her mind? All those things. Let's find out.
I'm dying, because it was the real thing.
You know, I really haven't talked to you about this since we did this.
No, and you feel like a fool. I mean, here's the Prime Minister of England. Oh, please, and she's sitting down next to me, and I know what I said about the royal family.
Yes.
And little did I know that she knew. I mean, and you start apologizing. Well, I don't really mean it. You know, and she just wouldn't let go.
She was good.
She was wonderful.
Did you have any idea it was the Prime Minister? Or it wasn't the Prime Minister?
When she tried to make the cameraman at one point. No, I had no idea.
That was the tip-off.
That was the tip. No, she walked in with the press.
Yeah.
And everybody in the aides, and sat down, and she looked right, and little things. I mean, like she was wearing stockings with leg warmers over them, which is, that could be English,
We
too.
could have talked to her about that, yeah.
But Margaret Thatcher's no beauty. I mean, she shops in Moscow. Her wardrobe, I mean. So this woman looked like Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
Little strange wig, So I really believe, and then you die of embarrassment because you suddenly representing your country.
Right.
You don't want
You tried to cop out a couple of times.
to. A couple of times?
Yes.
My whole life.
Yes.
Hey.
You didn't mean this.
Sure.
Did you say you'd never do it again?
Never. Never talk about them again. Listen, if they ever arrested me as a spy, I'd tell them everything. Oh, sure. I wasn't going to stand up for anything.
Now, let me ask you one question.
Yeah.
We've known each other for what? 16, 17 years?
17 years.
And in a way, I felt guilty doing this. But as I said before, I left the guilt because I knew it was going to be funny. Are you mad at me?
Let me ask you that. Okay. I owe my whole career to you.
Well.
Come on.
Yeah.
17 years I'm on your show. I have such warmth and affection. Why should I be angry that you made me get up and get my hair done and drive an hour to the airport to have dinner with you and instead be made a fool of? Why should I feel angry?
Jeez, you're getting vicious.